Hey, beautiful people, it's Rickita and I'm back with another video. So in this video, we're going to talk about ways to boost your chance of getting approved for a credit card. Now, these are some things that you guys probably already heard before, but I'm telling y'all, we just need to do the basics with getting approved for a credit card. We have to understand that it's nothing like really major. It's just the small fundamental things that we have to continue to look into, basically. So the first thing is I want you guys to make sure that you're checking your credit reports and checking your credit scores. If you want to boost your chance of getting approved, you need to know what is on your credit reports and what's your credit score, because different credit cards want different things. So you can't say, oh, I want to get a Chase credit card if you got a 520 credit score. If you have a 520 credit score, you need to get a secure credit card. But you cannot know what you're able to get really until you actually look at your credit score and say, okay, I know where I'm at. Let me see what my options are. So please know what your credit score is and try to improve your credit score. If your credit score is not the best, please improve it. So just paying all your bills on time, make sure everything is on auto pay, remove any late payments that you have, remove any negative accounts that you have. If you all go to my website, Rickita.com, I do have some free dispute letters. So here it is here. I have some free dispute letters that you all can download. So start removing these late payments, any negative accounts, because that's going to increase your chances of actually getting approved. And keep your utilization low. So if you have credit cards, make sure you guys pay down your credit cards. I have a utilization tracker so that you guys can track the utilization on your credit cards and play with the numbers. I know Credit Karma they do tell you what your utilization is, but I like to play with the numbers so I can say, okay, I need to pay it on this credit card. What amount do I need to pay so I can get it down? I love it to be at 5% when I apply for anything. I know it's going to be my best credit score. I always want to put my best foot forward when I apply for credit cards, and avoid all of those hard inquiries that you guys can get from applying for too many credit cards, because those hard inquiries can actually drop your lower your credit score, and you don't want that to happen. And make sure you guys are choosing the right card. This is the third thing I want to talk about. Choose the right card. So start with a secure credit card if your credit score is very, very low, and then look for credit cards again that's designed for your credit level. So research these credit cards, and then I even have something on my website where you guys can pre-qualify for credit cards. It's like 45 different accounts. I know I tell you guys this all the time. I'm going to show you guys after I go through this list how to actually access the website, how to look at the website. But definitely pre-qualify for those credit cards. That credit card, if you pre-qualify for it, it's going to tell you yes or no without the hard inquiry. And that's what you need. You don't want to get a hard inquiry for no reason. So I really want you guys to try to pre-qualify. That way you don't have to play too much of the guessing game and just mess around and get a hard inquiry. And again, prepare for the application. Make sure everything is together. Make sure your utilization is in check before you apply, because once they get your credit report, that is what they're going off of. That is what they're going off of. So before I actually graduated, I had a problem with one of my professors. So I just literally graduated and I had a problem with one of my professors. And I'm like, I'm about to graduate. Like, it's no way. And I'm like, you need to fix this. But I could have just said, you know what? I'll take this class next semester and just graduate. I'm not going to. And I was like, no. This is what I need to get done. So when you guys, I knew I applied for graduation, I was already approved. I just have to finish these classes. So the same thing is, you want to get approved for the credit card as long as you got your stuff in order. So make sure you have everything in order. Keep your utilization low, no late payments, the negative accounts. All these different things are factors into it. So we already talked about it, with different accounts, removing them. So just make sure your application is ready and you have a utilization down. And make sure you guys build positive credit history. When you guys want to get certain credit cards, you have to understand that you have to have a certain amount of credit cards. Like, for example, Apple's not going to just take a chance on you and give you a credit card if you never had a credit card. I have seen Apple want you to have other credit cards reporting first before they give you a chance and give you a credit card. So start building that positive credit history. Make sure all your credit cards, all of your accounts that can be on auto pay, make sure that they are on auto pay, because them late payments are going to hurt you. And again, that pre-qualification, use the tool on my website. So you utilize the pre-qualification tools right on my website, Rickita.com, because that utilization is going to be very, very important too. Even when you do the pre-qualification, if you pre-qualify for a credit card and you pay down, if you don't get approved, or they like, no, can give you one. If you pay down some of your credit cards, you will see that you will have a greater chance of getting approved for the credit card that you just applied for. If you pay down some of your credit cards, you may find out that they may approve you. So utilize that pre-qualification. And I always think about, who is that? Aaliyah. At first you don't succeed, pick yourself up and try again, because that's real. If you want it, do the pre-qualification, because I remember when I went to get Discover at one time, they told me no. And they kept telling me no. And I'm like, what is up? So I just like, okay, maybe I have some other things I need to work on. Let me get my utilization down, make sure all these things are in order. And then I tried. Every month I tried though. I pre-qualify every month. And then eventually it gave it to me. So do the pre-qualification, because it's not a hard inquiry. So definitely make sure you guys do it. And again, it's on my website, rickita.com. The next thing is, I want you guys to consider applying with a co-applicant. So maybe you want to add someone on if you're having not the best time with building your credit. Maybe you want to add someone else onto the application. And this is really good too when you guys are trying to get a vehicle too. But with credit cards, you guys can do the same thing. You can add a co-applicant on and they can consider their credit too. So that could be a good thing. Or maybe, again, let's kind of skip a few steps. Maybe you want to be added as an authorized user on someone else's credit card too. Maybe that right there can boost your credit score, and that can boost your chances of actually getting approved for a credit card. And understand that timing is everything. If you just got a late payment last month, maybe you want to wait a few months. Maybe you want to work on removing it. The late payment, to me, you have a better chance of getting approved for certain credit cards when that late payment is like a year or 2 years old. So you don't want to apply right away, but if it's been some time, still try. Do the pre-qualification. I've also seen this with bankruptcies. So if you do have a bankruptcy on your credit report, you haven't removed it yet, then I want you all to understand that if you just filed bankruptcy, that thing was just added. Depending on what it is, Chapter 13 is going to be harder to get credit cards compared to Chapter 7 bankruptcy. But you have to understand that you may not get approved because you just have bankruptcy. You have no positive accounts probably. You haven't started building your credit. But if you already filed bankruptcy 4 years ago, I still see people like, oh, I filed bankruptcy and I look and it's 5 years old. I'm like, you could have had perfect credit by now if you would have started building your credit. So understand the timing and just apply at the right time and build a relationship with your bank. I did this with a credit union. And when I built a relationship with them, they was able to give me a home equity line of credit. Well, actually, it wasn't a line of credit. It was a loan. I was able to get a loan on our properties. I was like, oh, this is nice. They gave me a credit card. My car was upside down. But once I started building a relationship, they was like, oh, your car is upside down. That's okay. You got a high interest rate. We'll give you a new loan with a lower interest rate. And that's just because I have accounts with them. And they're like, okay, she's doing good. I built the relationship. So you don't necessarily have to do like the pre-qualification for some of those. You can go to your local credit union, the bank that you're already at, and build a relationship with them. And they'll most likely be able to extend credit to you. And a good one for this is Navy Federal. And make sure you guys review and monitor your credit regularly. Like, keep looking. I'm nosy when it comes down to my credit. Like, I need to know, like, what is up? What is my credit score? Every morning I'm looking at it. So I want you guys to do the same thing. So review and monitor your credit regularly. But let's actually go ahead and look at how to actually look at those credit cards where you can pre-qualify without a hard. Hey, beautiful people. Welcome to episode 175 of Credit 101. In this episode, we're going to talk about getting a cosigner or guarantor. And this is going to help you guys have better approval odds. So if you guys know that your credit is not the best, you're finding that you can't get approved for certain things. And when I always think about this, I think about mostly a car. But if you guys know that it's hard to get approved for certain things, think about getting someone to co-sign for you. Now, if you guys were to get someone to co-sign for you, say if you have a mom, a dad, a spouse, or whoever you may know, you may have a friend that have great credit and they're willing to co-sign for you. This can help you have better chances of actually getting approved for whatever you're applying for, because you have someone that has good credit. Hopefully you pick somebody with some excellent credit, and they're going to consider their credit with the application. So when you guys go and apply for something, especially think about like a car, if you guys get a co-signer, they can look at the co-signer's credit and say, you know what? I can go ahead and approve you now. And depending on their financials and different things like that too. But I definitely suggest you guys look into getting a co-signer. So if you're like, I cannot get approved, try to see if you can have someone co-sign for you. Now, don't get the wrong people too. Don't say, oh yeah, I can have my mom do it, and you haven't even looked at their credit. Like, look on their credit karma, something. Like, you have to know, because if they don't have the best of credit, it's going to hurt you. And we're going to talk about authorized users in the next episode, because that's very big. I need y'all to understand this authorized user thing to the maximum, because you may think, oh, let me co-sign for somebody because they don't have the best credit. You have to understand that there's different obligations when it come down to somebody being a guarantor. They basically say, I guarantee that this is going to be paid. If they for some reason they don't do what they need to do, I guarantee it's going to get paid. And then you have different things where, like a co-signer can be there saying, oh yeah, go ahead and look at my credit. I guarantee, I be on top of them, making sure that they pay it. They are legally obligated to repay the debt if you fail to do so. But understand too, that co-signer, what's on that, whatever that loan is, that stuff going to be reported to their credit report every month. Okay, so I want you guys to make sure that you pick the right person. And when you have someone co-sign for you, please don't mess it up with them. That's nice that they even thought about doing this for you. You do not want to mess up that relationship by not doing what you need to do. But let's talk about these authorized users, and let's also go through my website, Rickita.com. I want to show you guys how to actually navigate it, because you guys can get free dispute letters. There is so much there and a lot of credit cards. So let's